Jadeveon Clowney is now a member of the Cleveland Browns. Don't listen to the critics. He can play. He's not as good as you thought he would be out of college, but he can play. This now means Cleveland has 10 former first-round picks and 3 former number 1 picks. Nobody else can say that. Baker, there's only 2 things keeping this Cleveland Brown team from getting to a Super Bowl. Injuries, which absolutely nobody can predict, and the quarterback. Because I can think of about 8, 9, 10 quarterbacks that if you gave these edge rushers to, can you imagine if Dak Prescott, beyond his offensive personnel, had the best O-line and this defense? This is a championship team, and only 2 things will stop it: Baker or injuries. And so far, both are hard to predict. Here's a fact. In the last 20 years in the NFL, this is a fact. If you make more than Tom Brady at quarterback, you cannot win a Super Bowl unless your last name is Manning. So you either have to be a veteran taking a massive pay cut. Aaron Rodgers won't. Doesn't win the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson won't. Drew Brees did, and then he won a Super Bowl. Or you have to be a quarterback on your rookie deal. And it's very weird. There's no other job like this in America. In fact, there's no other job like this in sports. It's the only job, NFL quarterback, where the most talent you'll ever play with is often right out of college. Think about that. You come out of college, you're the most overwhelmed, you've never played in this league, and basically, that's the most talent you'll ever have. From that point forward, unless you take massive pay cuts, you'll have less talent to play with. It would be like for the rest of us, the day you got your driver's license, they gave you the keys to a Lamborghini and said, hey, drive for a few hours through rush hour traffic in Los Angeles. No easing around a parking lot or your neighborhood. Here's a Lambo. It's 5:45. Drive cross town in Los Angeles on the 405. There's no other job like that. I mean, look at LeBron's career. The longer he's played, the better players he's played with. Kevin Durant's career. Go start looking at him. Because in the NBA and other sports, you join forces. But in the NFL, when you're the most overwhelmed, you get the most talent. Here's the keys. Go play with all these fun toys. And you really don't have your sea legs. It's almost unfair. And so we know Baker early in his career could not overcome a bad coach and average offensive line. He's not talented enough. Andrew Luck could. I think Trevor Lawrence will be able to. But Baker's like most young quarterbacks. Got talent, needs help. But now Baker has the number 1 offensive line and the number 1 running backs. Tight ends are outstanding. The best pure edge rusher in the NFL. They upgraded their secondary. It's go time. Baker now joins in a very elite club. I would call it the pressure club. There's 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. No more excuses. Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Kyler Murray, and Daniel Jones. There's just way too much talent around you now. I'm sorry, Matt Stafford goes to a coach, Sean McVay, who has never been under 500 in his life. Matt, you got to win these games because this coach wins games. Every game Matt Stafford now plays in division is a television game. You have to wait till Thanksgiving to get on television. Every week. Rams, Niners, Rams, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. These are television games. These are networks fighting for them. Baker Mayfield. You got 10 first-round picks, 3 number 1s. Daniel Jones, Kenny Golladay, Kyle Rudolph. You already had decent receivers and a good tight end. Carson Wentz, was it Philly's issue? By the end of this year, we'll know if it's theirs or yours. And Kyler Murray, they have surrounded you with a bunch of sage old veterans. It's go time. No more 4th place. So now how will they react to it? How will Matt Stafford react to, every single game is a TV game, and if we lose, it's on me because my coach has never been under 500. And how will Baker Mayfield be with pressure? This is a championship roster. The only thing that can hold them back is major injuries to the O-line or Myles Garrett or Baker Mayfield. And early in his career, when there was some pressure on Baker, year 2 wasn't great. So we'll see how it works. But it is a very unique club. 5 guys, you got to win now. And you got to win big. Got to win a lot of games. Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers won 12 games. You got to win 13. And now you have an extra game from 16 to 17. So Carson, you go win 13 games. That's just what you got. Matt, They made all these picks for you and Jared Goff. You got to win 11, 12 games. I don't want to hear 9, 10. Don't hear it. Everything's changed. Culture's changed. Got too many good players, too many good coaches around you. So I thought this was a very interesting story. Trevor Lawrence has been, think about how good Trevor Lawrence is. He's the quarterback out of Clemson. In 2019, we didn't know who would be the number one pick in the draft. In 2020, we didn't know who would be the number one pick in the draft. But in 2019, we knew who would be the 2021 number one pick in the draft, Trevor Lawrence. 3 years out, we were like, yeah, he'll be number one in 3 years. We don't know quite in 2019, 2020. The Joe Burrow thing was late, right? His dad comes out and he says, he's not award-driven. I want to win a Super Bowl at all costs. That's not who he is. There's no doubt about that. He could walk away from the NFL tomorrow and be fine. Others who know Trevor Lawrence, just football doesn't define him. And my first reaction is, I don't know. But that was Andrew Luck. That was very much Andrew Luck, who started a book club. Andrew Luck would still be playing today if he just had a competent general manager and coach. And you have to be careful about this because on Sundays, Trevor Lawrence did not watch the NFL. He hung out and chilled with his girlfriend, who he just married. Is that the Bradys and the MJs and the LeBrons and the Peyton Mannings, this relentless, obsessive quest and thirst, that's the outlier. Look at your career. Look at ours. How many people are truly driven? Those are outlier stories. Look at the Lakers, AD and LeBron. AD is just chill. He's all good, man. LeBron is laser focused, business life. And so you look at that story with Trevor Lawrence and you go, oh, that's a concern. And then I think to myself, well, why would he have a chip on his shoulder? Trevor Lawrence admits here, he says, I don't have a huge chip. Everybody's not out to get me. Not everybody's trying to prove me wrong. I can't manufacture that. Well, that's because since he was 14, he's been the best quarterback in the country. Nobody ever has doubted Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't resent people because people have helped him. And I also think this generation of quarterbacks is different. Is that they've been protected, coached, sometimes coddled since the 8th grade. It didn't used to be like that. So we may be moving into a generation where quarterbacks aren't angry. They don't have a giant boulder on their shoulder. When I look at Trevor Lawrence, he's passionate. He gets better every year. He seems to love football, but he doesn't have to resent anybody to get there. There's a lot of different ways in 2020 to play quarterback. All shapes, all sizes, all personalities. I admit when I first saw that story, I could walk away from it tomorrow. But I look at my own kids. My kids want to be successful, but they don't have to be angry like I was in my 20s to get there. And the reality is, when I look at Trevor Lawrence, remember, Joe Montana was called Joe Cool. It was Brady. Like Michael Jordan. We never thought as Wilt is angry or Dr. J is angry or Magic is angry. And then Michael came around and we loved that story. Cut from his high school team. Brother dunked on him. We loved that relentless, obsessive, manufactured chip. But the problem with that, it wore everybody out. You watched the documentary. Hell, it even wore Michael out. He quit twice. There's a lot of different ways to get there. A lot. And we may be moving into a generation of quarterbacks who don't have to hate to be great. Who don't have to resent to dominate. They've been protected, coached, monitored, sometimes coddled since the 7th grade. That's not how Phil Simms grew up. That's not how Tom Brady grew up. Listen, Eli Manning's got 2 Super Bowls. He could have taken a nap at halftime of games. That was his personality. Phillip Rivers doesn't have any, and he was yelling and screaming and dog cussing everybody on the field. There's a lot of different ways to win, and you don't have to have the chip and resent people to do it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.